Hi everybody, I'm JD Blackrose, and I am going to do a little reading with you. I have my cup of tea, green tea, jasmine green tea with a little bit of honey, and I am going to read to you from my newest novella, Pluck and Cover. This is the first in my Zombie Cosmetologist novella series, and this one just came out in March. And the second one will be coming out in June, and I can't wait for you guys to just enjoy them. They're silly, they're fun, and they're supposed to make you laugh. So I hope that you will pick this up. Pluck and Cover, a Zombie Cosmetologist novella. I couldn't find my penis. I'd last seen it on the nightstand next to my walk-in freezer, but when I emerged in the morning, it wasn't there. I didn't need a penis, but I'd had 20 human years with one, and I'd gotten kind of used to it. Mrs. Ross, are you here? Have you seen my penis? You need a new one, Waylon. Mrs. Betsy Ross's specter floated into my room, holding the missing appendage. I know, but they have to be fresh, and coming upon a juicy, still warm body is a tricksy thing. Can you please sew this one back on? You don't need to urinate or have sexual relations, I sighed. Mrs. Ross, it is humiliating enough to ask you to connect my male member to my body. Please don't make it worse. Fine, she sniffed. Sit on the couch. I followed her to the living room, placed my rear end on the couch, spread my legs, and closed my eyes, while one of history's greatest seamstresses made me whole again. If I could have blushed, I would have reddened from my toes to my ears. As it was, I squirmed until she smacked me on the thigh. If you want this sewn on properly, you'll stop your fidgeting. You'll have to hear the rest. Poor Waylon, even though he's a cosmetologist and a lover, not a fighter, gets pulled into a murder mystery because bodies start showing up with limbs missing. And the local police captain thinks that the zombie has to be the one who's the murderer because who, after all, who else needs the spare parts? I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy this quick little reading, and I hope you'll buy Pluck and Cover, and the next one coming out in June, and then there are 2 more after that to create a whole series. Thanks so much for watching. Hi everybody, JD Blackrose here. I am going to read a little bit to you from The Devil's Been Busy. This is my Jess Friedman Monster Hunter Mom book. Jess Friedman is a Jewish monster hunter who hunts monsters for the Holy Roman Catholic Church. And yeah, you heard that right. So she's super fun. She also is the only monster hunter who has kids. So she has 3 children. So she has to, protect them at the same time while hunting monsters, and she also has to, get snack to kindergarten on time and manage play dates and birthday parties and all the things that, parents have to do while at the same time battling vampires and were-gorillas and kitsunes and all sorts of, monsters. So she's got a lot on her plate. She's a lot like if, Buffy the Vampire Slayer had married Riley and they had 3 kids, she'd be Jess Friedman. So think of it that way. I'm also wearing my Kindness is Contagious shirt, and I would really like to show that off. You can go online and buy these, and they do, I don't have the link, but I will, hopefully we can get that into the comments section. And they do raise money for Hunger America. I think that's the correct title. And I think they're very cool. Okay, so this is chapter 1 of the second novella, which is called Runaway. So this is chapter 1 from the second novella, Runaway. Mom, I need to talk to you. I was chopping veggies for our salad, but I set my knife down, turned, and regarded my eldest child, David, age 8. My husband, Nathaniel, placed the spice rub for the chicken to the side and turned as well. I brushed my hair out of my eyes, and Nathaniel pulled out a chair. "Okay, lay it on me," I said. "If it's about the experiment you did in your room, it's okay, since nothing died. The smell was a little obnoxious, but we like your curiosity." "It's not about that, Mom, but thanks for your understanding." "Okay, then what is it? Is something wrong?" "Mom, come sit down." David pulled out another chair and patted the seat. Nathaniel chewed his bottom lip. Debbie, our 5-year-old, put her Legos away. Even Daniel, the 3-year-old, toddled to his room to play with his toys himself. I picked my cuticles, forcing myself to take deeper breaths. I was almost hyperventilating. What could it be? Age 8 seemed young for girl stuff, or boy stuff. We didn't know who he might like yet. Sex stuff. "Are you in some kind of trouble, honey?" I asked. David shook his head. "No, Mom, nothing like that, but I do have a favor to ask." "Well, what is it? Tell me, I'm dying here." "Would you chaperone our field trip the day after tomorrow? We're going to the Museum of Peoples and Culture. Matt's mom had to bail at the last minute because the baby is due and she's having, what do you call them, contractions. So we are down a chaperone and they may not let us go if we don't have at least 3 parents. Please, you've never gone on a class trip with us." Nathaniel let out a whoosh of breath, clapped his hands, replaced the chair, and went back to the kitchen. "You should think about it, honey," he said to me. There was a reason I'd never gone on a class trip. I love my children, but the thought of being on a bus with 30 4th graders and their teacher and other moms made me break out in flop sweat. I would rather face down a troop of goblins or bargain with Sasquatches or even home a baby Garrow if I had enough apples. I'd heard 2 babies were born recently, but I think they got a place to house them. I was a monster hunter and the mother of 3 children, David, Debbie, and Daniel, and I knew chaperoning would be hell. Correction, in my line of work, we had to be careful of using words like hell because one never knew if we meant the literal hell or were making an analogy. In this case, I wasn't sure which this would be. "Let me think about it, David." Nathaniel shot me a look which meant, "Really?" I avoided his eyes. What did I have planned for the day after tomorrow? I checked my phone. Nothing. Training with Abid, but that could be rescheduled. I stood, hip out and casual, thumbing through my phone, ostensibly looking at the calendar, but inside my mind I was flailing for a way to get out of this. "I'm going to place a call," I said. "Nathaniel, can you carry on with dinner?" My husband rolled his eyes to the heavens, but nodded. Speaking of the heavens, I decided this crisis was worthy of spiritual advice, so I placed that call, then hopped into the minivan and drove where I always did when in a quandary. Rabbi Stein knew about my monster hunting and that I worked for the church as a Knight Templar of some sort, and he approved since I was ridding the world of evil and working for the Big G. As he said, we're all on the same team. "Rabbi!" I knocked on his office door. His secretary was already gone for the day. "Jess?" "Yes, it's me. Do you have a few minutes?" "Of course, for you, always. Come in." Rabbi Stein's voice was strong despite his years. He lived with back pain and had gotten too thin. He needed to eat. Of course, Jewish mothers always say that about everyone. Our answer to any problem, big or small, was food. Someone died? Bring a lasagna to the family. Someone born? Bring a casserole. Someone was ill? Make chicken soup. Someone broke a leg? Cake. "Next time I visit, I'm bringing some homemade schnitzel. You've lost weight. Will you make it the real way with veal?" he asked. "No, I don't eat veal on moral grounds. I'll make it from chicken breast." He dismissed the offer with a wave of his hand. Ugh. "I make very good chicken schnitzel, Rabbi. I promise you will like it." He lowered himself to his chair, and I ignored the wince he made halfway down. He looked at me from half-lidded eyes and pointed to me with his wire glasses. "You pound it nice and thin? It must be tender or it's no good." I pound it nice and thin. And not too much oil, just enough, no more. You know how to do it, just enough? I do, Rabbi. I've been making schnitzel my whole life. You make it with salt? It needs salt. Don't go whining to me about watching my salt intake. What's schnitzel without salt? I asked, my palms up. He stared at me for another moment. Okay, maybe I'll try it, if it's not too much trouble. It may have taken 20 minutes of intense negotiation, but I won round one. I texted Nathaniel to remind me to make the schnitzel. Having reached détente on the Great Schnitzel War, I told Rabbi Stein what David had asked. I fail to see why this is such a hard request, Jess. It's one field trip. I'd go with him if I could walk that much. It means I have to interact with people, Rabbi, and not just any people. What do you mean, Jess? I don't understand. Who are the people you are so scared of? I tucked my head, refusing to look at him. Moms. He leaned forward. What? You are afraid of the other mothers? I'm not afraid, Rabbi. I'm not afraid of anything. He made some movement with his hands to acknowledge my bravery in battle. I think he may have also rolled his eyes. I'm not comfortable around the other moms because they are so perfect and poised and always know what to say. I don't fit in. The rabbi gave me a hard look. Jess, you sound like a 7th grader. Grow up and go with your kid to the museum. You'll both treasure the memory. It's a museum, for goodness sakes. What could go wrong? In truth, it did go well for the first 30 minutes or so. The children were loud on the bus but didn't misbehave. I sat in the middle seat to keep my eye on the kids, so that kept me from having to make conversation with the moms and the 4th grader, Mrs. Butler, and there was little traffic. I began to think this might be fun after all. The Museum of Peoples and Culture was on the beautiful Wade Oval near the Museum of Natural History and the Botanical Gardens. It was a lovely, sunny day with blue skies and a pleasant temperature. I had a feeling it was all going to be okay. My grandmother used to say, man plans and God laughs. He must have been having a real knee slapper of a day. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you'll pick up The Devil's Been Busy. It's available in every format, audiobook, ebook, hardback, paperback. You'll also notice The Devil's Been Busy, and all of the novellas that it's made up of are named after traveling Wilbury songs. So if you are old enough to remember the traveling Wilburys, you will recognize all of the titles. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and please go out and buy my stuff. Thanks.